Hey, Bad Girl Mystic here. Checking in with you guys, seeing how your Mercury retrograde is going. As I've said, I was laying low and I said I wasn't going to do any more videos, but this came to me and I want to share it with you guys. Is I'll share, I just shared a meme on stories, but it was all the symptoms of not being grounded. And so, one of the things that I found with coloring and talking about healing your root chakra and healing trauma that happened to early childhood. Age 0 to 7 is considered early childhood. If you're healing trauma that's preverbal, a lot of times we have these physical sensations and reactions and how we move through the world that is very frustrating because it feels like we will never be able to be in our body differently. And what has come to light recently, and I shared this as well in my Instagram stories from one of the somatic neurotherapists that I follow for trauma, is about repatterning our nervous system, affirming that we are safe in our body so that we can balance, come back to homeostasis, release the nervous system from always firing on trauma response. Okay, so if you've never seen this video, FYI, my name is Bad Girl Mystic, and I share with you my practice that I do for repatterning and healing my nervous system from early childhood trauma, sexual trauma to be specific, because it's important how your body reacts, and the experiences you have are very different from trauma to trauma. I've had multiple different traumas, so I understand how there's just not one thing, and that's why it's very important for us to do our shadow work and to take the time to unravel and unwrap what we are physically feeling, as well as what is mentally the images in our head, or emotionally how we're reacting. It's the whole package. I share with how coloring and having a focus and intention with my coloring, where I use symbols and intuition and journal work to bring up and address my own shadows, my own reactions, hyper vigilant reactions to my environment that are out of proportion to what is happening. So I take a breath, I reaffirm I'm safe. Now, for me, coloring is wonderful. I have happy associations from childhood with coloring. If you do not have happy associations with coloring as a child, then you're going to want to find a different creative practice. Now, as far as a warm-up goes, I first started coloring when it was like I was exercising demons. And let's go ahead, I want to find a little green. There we go. And so it was like I was exercising demons. And I would attack the page and furiously color, and I would be all stiff and tired and sore because I was ignoring my body's needs. A very comfortable, easy thing for me to do. One of the things I've discovered in my own shadow work is how one of my survival mechanisms as a child was to hold perfectly still, to move as little as possible. So when I catch myself tightening my core, tightening my torso, tightening my buttocks, and I am moving my shoulder and arm from the neck instead of with the breath and with my body, that's why yoga is so good for trauma, is because it teaches us. Then it's an indication of being ungrounded, being in triggered hypersense mode where you're overstimulated. So coloring is a great way to relax that down. So as you can hear, I put on good tunes. Right now I'm addicted to the Obama playlist on Spotify from this summer. And what I like to do to warm up, I have calluses on my fingers from working on my scar tissue, so I wear black tape to soften them. What I do to warm up for coloring is I massage my hands, I rub them together, like that. You know, get some chi going, play with your hands, massage your hands. And I also use, and I've showed this before, I have a 10-pound sandbag. So I like to place the sandbag so that I feel more weight sinking into my heel. So there's the physical grounding of your feet to the floor. Assistance of the sandbag to help. What happens is when we have a lot of tension, especially low back pain, we're squeezing so hard to push ourselves forward in the world, in the torso, our leg muscles get weak. So when we use sandbags, they help ground and lengthen and allow that weight, the muscles to relax, get fluid, drop into the heels. Next, what I do, so warm up the hands, ground the legs, take 3 ha breaths, and breathe out with your hands, connecting your energy, connecting your attention to the page. Then I like to grab a highlighter or a marker. And I like to feather with the breath. So if I go in, move my belly button, allow my belly button to guide. Now, I'm not going to get a perfectly straight line. And that's okay, because I know that I'm going to go back over this with coloring pencil, maybe some gel pens, maybe some crayons. So I'll just blend the fudges. So take an inhale, exhale. See, that one's really wiggly and dark. But use your belly button to move your hand. Push up from your heels, push your heels in the ground, and push yourself, sit up, and drop down. Sit up, drop down. Now, if you don't want to practice this on your coloring pages, you can always do this on just a plain piece of paper or brown shopping bags, recycled paper. Is a great place to just move, let your body, your torso, what's in Eastern medicine, your Dantian, your light, your power center, which we also refer to as the third chakra, to sync your power back to your foundation, your root chakra. This comes from very small movements. It comes from, you feel the movement pushing from the inside out, as opposed to in trauma where we're grasping. So it's like if you want to also soften the eye focus. When we're closing our eyes, we're keeping out information. When we're staring at something, we're pulling in information. So if we keep a soft focus, we're just present in the moment. Now, where I went to massage school, we were taught Tai Chi before we worked on a body. We were taught to move from the Dantian. When I had my brain injury and I had a relapse, this triggered my system. So even intellectually, I understood this information. I still needed to show up and find a way to reintroduce it back into my body. The trauma being the natural state for me to fall into. So once again, coloring is a wonderful way to start working and bringing that root out and just playing with the pens instead of worrying, or your pencils, and let go of worrying what the end product needs to look like. Mwah. Peace out. I'll be back soon.